I just wanted to update you guys because there is a very small chance that the Imola Grand Prix may not take place this weekend due to severe weather conditions in and around the circuit. We could have another Spa on our hands. If you're not familiar with what happened in Spa 2021, then you didn't miss all that much. There was a severe downpour that hit the track, which isn't unheard of at Spa as we're pretty used to seeing wet races there over the years, but this weather was simply too bad to race in. Despite the weather being severe, the FIA controversially sent the cars out behind the safety car for 2 laps, with the premise of checking the suitability for the race to start, but in reality, having 2 laps behind the safety car meant that the race was official and they could award points. Half points. It wasn't received very well, and because Max Verstappen had put it on pole, he got the win, with George Russell, who was in the Williams, getting a podium and finishing technically 2nd place, as he had a fantastic qualifying in the wet conditions the day before. It wasn't a great look for Formula 1, and everyone could see that the FIA had sent those cars out behind the safety car just so they could officially label it a race. It was poor. The rules were altered then after this to ensure that points would not be awarded without actual racing laps, but Formula 1 will be keen to ensure that nothing like that happens again. So what's the issue then? We like a little bit of wet weather, don't we? It spices up the racing order. Well, yes, normally, but in this occasion there is a red weather warning for the Emilia-Romagna region, which is the region around the circuit, issued by the Civil Defence. That means they are expecting severe rain and flooding. And if that persists, it could go through until the weekend. And if it does, there's not going to be a Grand Prix. If you look at this map, there isn't just a light bit of rain. The Civil Defence deemed it necessary to issue a weather warning, and while it's currently expected to last today and tomorrow, so Tuesday and Wednesday, there is no guarantee that this weather doesn't continue over the weekend. The hope, of course, is that by the weekend the weather will be cleared or at least manageable enough to race, but if the local authorities deem it necessary to extend the weather warning to the weekend period, there will be little F1 can do to host the race. And I hope they'll make a decision early on so we don't end up with another situation like Spa. There aren't really any alternatives to hosting the race either if it can't go ahead as planned on Sunday. With enough warning, perhaps the organisers can reschedule over the weekend to find a potential gap in the weather, but Imola is the first race of a triple header, with F1 heading to Monaco and then Spain. So trying to reschedule it, say, for Monday, Tuesday, that's not viable. If we're lucky, this severe weather will pass before the race weekend. But weather warnings like this are issued for people's safety. So the first thing we hope is that people of the region are safe. That comes first before racing. Fingers crossed, though, that if the weather does clear up by the weekend, we will be able to have a race, even if it's a wet race, but hopefully the conditions will be more manageable. If that's not possible, though, and I hope it is because I've really been looking forward to Imola, but if the FIA are looking at these weather conditions and they have a very good idea by Thursday, Friday, that it's not going to be possible to race, I hope they make that decision early this time so we don't have another situation like Spa. Fingers crossed.